Good morning students, this is Sonam here. We are going to start the third chapter of EVS, that is Animal World. So student, as you know, you might have seen there are different types of animals in your surrounding. There are different kinds of animals and they live at different places. That means the place where they live is called as their habitat. So different animals have different habitat. So some of the animals you can find that they live on the tree, some of them lives in water. There are certain other animals which can live on the land, some other make their home under the ground. Some of them flies in the sky. There are certain other animal students which can live in both on land as well as in water. So there are certain examples given over here. The first one, as you can see, the squirrel lives in trees. So this is the habitat where you can find a squirrel. It lives in trees. The second one is, you can see a rabbit lives in a burrow. So rabbit makes the burrow which is under the ground. Okay, the third one, as you can see, a giraffe lives in the shade of the tree. So giraffe is a big animal, so it lives in the shade of the tree. Then, as I've told you, there are certain animals which can survive both, which lives on both land as well as in water. So the example of that is duck. The duck lives both in land as well as in water. The another example is a frog. The frogs can survive both. It lives on land as well as in water. The next one is the lion lives in a den. You might have seen that the lion lives in a den. The next is a bird flies in the sky and it makes its nest on the tree. There are several birds which makes their nest on the tree. So these are the different habitats. We can make out from this that different animals have they have different places where they live. Then there are certain animals which lives with us. So there are certain animals which lives with us as we have to make home for them. So we make kennel for the dog, we make coop for the hens, and we make stable for the horses. So these are all animals which are living with us. Let's move to the next slide. The next topic is size of animals. So have you ever noticed, students, that the size of different animal is different? All the animals are not of the same size. So as you have visited a zoo sometime, you might have seen there are certain animals, you can classify them on the basis of their sizes. There are certain animals which are considered very big. Their size is very big. So example of that is the elephant and the giraffe. They are considered as very big animals. Then there are certain animals which are considered as big. As examples are lion, tiger and zebra. So you can see here a lion and a zebra. So they are big animals. Next is, some animals are small because their height is small. So they are small animals like your deer, monkey, rat, rabbit, squirrels. These all are considered as small animals. As you can see here, a rabbit, a monkey, a squirrel, they are small in size. Then there are certain other animals which are much smaller, even by these animals, even they are smaller. So such animals are called as very small animals like the housefly, mosquitoes and ants. You can see here a housefly and ant. So we can classify these animals, different animals, based on their size. So here what you have to do, there are certain pictures are given of the animals. You have to write down the name of the animal in the order of their size. So you have to write down the smallest one here in the very beginning. So you can write down ant here, and you can mention the very big animal. You can mention the lion here in the last. Rest order you can fill by yourself. This is a practice exercise for you. The next topic is the movement in animals. So as you know that certain animals, they move from one place to another place. So why they move from one place to another place? The reason behind that why animals move from one place to another is that, first of all, they look for food and water. Secondly, they look for shelter, and third reason is to protect themselves from the enemy. So these are the three reasons why different animals move from one place to another. The next topic is movement on land. How animals move on land? There are certain examples given over here. So the animals like the cheetah, horse and zebra, they are very good runners. Why these animals are considered as good runners? Because they have very strong legs. So strong legs of these animals help them to run very fast. You can see here in the diagram that a cheetah runs very fast with the help of its 4 strong legs. The next is, there are certain animals like the cows, buffaloes and elephants which walk on the leg with their 4 legs. So students, in humans we consider these 2 are our hands and we have 2 legs. But in case of animal, when we discuss, so their 2 hands will be called as their forelimbs and their legs will be considered as the hind limbs. So there are certain animals which walk with their 4 legs like the cows, buffaloes and the elephant. But there are certain other animals which walk with their 2 hind limbs, which walk with the help of their 2 hind limbs. The example of this, that is apes and bear. Then there are certain other animals, students, which don't walk but they hop, they jump. So the example of these, you might have seen that grasshopper, the kangaroos, these animals, they are hopping animals. These are called hopping animals because they hop, they don't walk on land. Then the next set of example here is the reptiles. So reptiles include lizard, tortoise, turtles and crocodiles. So these animals, though they are having legs, but they don't walk on the ground. They crawl on the ground. These are having legs. You can see here the crocodile here. There are various reptiles which crawl on the land. Then there are, as you might have seen, snake, students. Snake and earthworm. These 2 animals are not having legs. They are not having legs, so they crawl on the land. This is the way they move on the land. Then there are certain insects like the ants, beetles, lice, bugs which are having 6 legs to walk or crawl. So these insects, they walk or they crawl. For that they have 6 legs. You can see here the different crawling animals, the crocodile, snake, ant, the louse and the bugs. So these are the various animals described here and the way they move. Let's move forward. So if we discuss about birds, you might have seen the birds are, how the birds fly. The birds are flying with the help of the wings. They move in the air from one place to another. Then there are certain insects like the butterflies and the wasps. The butterflies and the wasps are having 2 pair of wings which help them to fly in the air. Then you might have seen the house flies which generally comes on the sweet and on garbage. So the house flies have only 1 pair of wings that help them to fly. Even the bats are having wings to fly. So as you can see here, this is the way the bird used to use its wings to fly. The bird is sitting here, then it just raises and then it moves its wing in up and down direction. That is, they have a flight muscles. With the help of that, they fly and they fly from one place to another place. But have you ever wondered, there are certain bird, students, which cannot fly. Those birds are called as flightless bird. Okay, so all birds do not fly. There are certain birds, examples, the ostrich, kiwi, emu and penguin. These birds, these are kiwi, penguin and ostrich. These kind of birds, they do not fly. They generally walk on the land, and the penguin is using its wing to swim. Okay, it is using its wings to swim. It is not using its wings to fly. Why these birds cannot fly in the sky? Because these birds are having very weak wings, and that is why they cannot fly. So let's go to the next part, that is the fishes. So in case of fish, they don't have neither they are having the legs or neither they are having the wings. So how the fish moves in the water, how it swims? The fish have the fins which help them to swim in water. Then there are other aquatic animals like you can say the frogs and the ducks. How they swim in the water? They swim by pushing the water with their webbed feet. So what is the characteristic which help them to swim in water? The frog and the duck, they have the webbed feet. So let's talk about the next. The turtle swims with the help of flippers. So turtles have flippers which helps them to swim. So nextly, we have to complete this following table. In this, we have to discuss how the animals move. So there are different places where the animals move, like the animals which move on land, animals which moves in water, and animals that move in air. So we have to complete this. First of all, let's discuss the animals move on land. Firstly, the animals that run. So there are certain animals, as we have discussed previously, that there are animals which can run very fast. The examples are horse, zebra and cheetah. Okay, you have to write any two of them here. The next is animals that hop, the animals which don't walk but they hop. So examples are rabbit, kangaroos, and you can write grasshopper also there. Then the animals that crawl, there are certain animals which crawl on the land. So there are animals like snake and earthworm which they don't have legs, so they crawl, and certain reptiles also, you can write down any of the reptile because they crawl on the land. This is the mode in which they move on the land. So let's move forward to the water. So the animals that moves in water. So you have to name the animal that swim with the help of the fin. So which animal uses fin for swimming? The fish uses its fin for swimming. Next is animal that swim with the webbed feet. So you can write down duck as well as you can write down frog. Any one of that, they uses their webbed feet for swimming in water. The next is animal that swim with the flippers. So turtles are the animals which uses flipper to swim in the water. Lastly, the animals which moves in the air. The first, the animals that fly. There are different birds which flies in the air like eagle, sparrow, etc. Next is animals that have wings but cannot fly. There are certain birds which are having wings but they cannot fly. Example, ostrich, emu and this penguin. You can write down these are the flightless birds which have wings but they cannot fly because their wings are very weak. So let's move to the next part. We are going to discuss the exercise now. So exercise of chapter 3. First of all, we are going to discuss the multiple choice question here. So the first question is, a rabbit lives in. So we have to mention the habitat in which the rabbits live. So the first one is a den, a burrow and a water. So a rabbit lives in a burrow. It digs, you can see here in the picture also, it digs a burrow deep inside the ground, and here there is a place where a rabbit lives. Next is, we make coops for. So why we make coops? For what animals we keep in the coop? So dogs, cows or hens. So we make coops for the hens. So the right answer is C option. So let's begin with the fill in the blanks now. The first fill in the blanks is, we make a dash for horses. So what kind of home do we make for the horses? We make stable. The next is, and dash is a very big animal. So we have discussed in the chapter that animal can be classified based on their sizes. So an elephant is a very big animal. Next is, the fish swim in water with their dash. So what helps the fish to swim in water? The fins of the fishes help them to swim in water. Next is, the frogs swim in water with their dash. So frogs swim in the water with the help of their webbed feet. Next is, the penguin uses their wings for. So as I have told you that penguins are the flightless bird, they cannot fly, so they are using their wings for swimming purpose. Okay, so next is, circle the odd one out. Here student, we have to identify the odd one out. The four options are given here. We have to identify which one is odd here. So first is zebra, giraffe, water and lion. So out of these, all three are animals. These three, zebra, giraffe and lion. What is the odd one? The answer is water. The next is horse, zebra, coops or cheetah. So all three are animal except coop. Coop is a kind of home that we make for the hens. The next is lizard, shed, tortoise and crocodile. So all these three are animals, whereas shed is the different one, that is the odd one out. So let's begin with the next one, that is E part. Here you have to join the dots and you have to write the name of these animals. Later on you can color those, students. So first one you can identify, it is a fish. The second one is an elephant, you might have seen that in zoos, and the last one you can see here is a bird. So let's move on to the next section of this practice exercise, that is B part. So here first question is an animal that hops. So we have to mention the animals that hops. The kangaroo, the bear, or the cheetah. So the right answer is A option, kangaroo. The next is the birds which cannot fly. So all birds do not fly, student. There are certain birds which have weak wings, so that is why they are called as flightless birds. These are sparrows, penguin, or parrot. So the correct answer is B option, penguins. So let's move on to the next questions. Very short answer questions. So first one is name the homes we make for the dog and a horse. So the kind of home that we make for the dog is called as kennel. The next one is horse, we make stable. The next is name any two big animals. So there are certain animals which are very big in size. So the example of that is elephant and giraffe. Okay, so next type of question is short answer type of question. So first one is name 4 animals that crawl on the land. So which animals crawl on the land? Examples are your crocodile, turtle, snake, and lizard. The next is you have to name 1 animal which lives in trees. So in trees, example is your squirrel. Next is in burrow, rabbit. In the shade of tree, because the big animal like giraffe, they lives in the shade of the tree. The next one is in the nest. There are several birds which lives in the nest. You can write down sparrow here. The last one is long answer question. Here first of all, why do animals move from one place to another? So what is the reason why animals move from one place to another? Because in order to find food, shelter, and they move from one place to another, as well as in order to protect themselves from the enemies, they shift or transfer from one place to another. Next is why birds like penguin cannot fly. There are certain birds which cannot fly like penguin, emu, and ostrich, because their wings are very weak and they cannot fly. The last question is sometimes the wild animals like tigers and jackal attacks the villagers. You might have seen certain news that there are certain animals which attack the villagers to kill people and destroy their home. Can you really blame them for such act? So this is a value added question, student. You have to write the answer on your own. You can use the help of the different sources, and you can write down your own creative answer for this. So by this, student, we complete our 3rd chapter, that is animal world. In this chapter we have discussed about the different sizes of animal, why they move from one place to another, and what are the various ways in which they moves on the land. So go through the slides once again, and we'll meet you in the next video. Thank you.